Would I open another brick and mortar gym in 2026? The answer for me is no, and I'll explain exactly why. But first, my name's Hunter. I've done over 7 million top line in the last 5 years through an online and brick and mortar fitness business, and I'm here to teach you the lessons I've learned and avoid the mistakes that I've made. So let's jump right in. Why wouldn't I open a brick and mortar in 2026? Much of that is due to my personal situation. So I'll explain to you my thought process, and then you can apply it to where you're currently at, and then figure out what might be the best direction for you. So what I've learned over the years, in the last 10 years of running a fitness business, is there are certainly different levels of difficulty depending on what vehicle of business you're in. Every business has its advantages and disadvantages. And so disadvantages and the difficulty of a brick and mortar gym, for me, just do not outweigh the ability to scale and grow like I have in the online space. And let me explain and break down the numbers. So there are many types of gyms. And then, of course, there's many ways to run an online coaching business too. I'm going to compare a single type of gym and a single type of online business. And that's just because that's what I've experienced. And so from a gym example, I'm going to talk in regards to a small group personal training. And from an online standpoint, I'm going to talk about high ticket one-on-one. Let's compare the two. Small group personal training. I wish I had known this when I started the gym, and that was having the end in mind. What does a finished gym look like? Because you only have so much square footage. You only have, a particular market or, target market within a certain area. And so understanding when is my gym full and when should I consider opening another one or just being cool with my current one? That would have been helpful. Here's what I'm going to give to you now is exactly that in a small group training model. So what people are doing nowadays when they fill their gyms, they'll normally get between, $80 to $100 per week over, 100 to 120 members. And that for them is full capacity, which is typically, around the 40 to 50K mark in revenue. So that's top line. And the best gyms, I would say, are going to go above 30% margin, but, around 20 to 25% at this maxed out number is probably pretty typical. So let's just meet in the middle. For 45,000 and you're making 20%, that's about 9K margin, 9K profit. So let's just say it's about 10K profit a month that this one finished location knocks off. Now here's the thing, that's at a fully grown location, and there is a certain amount of overhead that you have to hit just to break even. Now, normally that break even point for people is around that 60 to 70 member mark. And so before you even get to 60 or 70 members, you are losing money or you are breaking even. So this profit is not counting salaries. So if you work in the business, you'd be able to make more of a net owner benefit. But this is just if you're purely hands off, you're purely hiring everybody who's actually operating the business. That's kind of what you can expect. And to build out something like this is normally around 80 to 100K. That's what people are doing to build these out. So if I invest 80 to 100K and I know my systems and I can do this off the rip, then I can create about 120K in profit, including if I work in it, which is, cool. And so the question is, how quickly can you do that? If you can get to that number in a year, that's pretty solid. You're going to have amazing returns. Now, the problems that people typically run into in this type of model when they're trying to grow, hiring and training, because at this point, when you've grown a gym, you've got your marketing system down for your clients, but you really have to find a all-star to operate this, because at a facility like this, you might have 2 to 3 people who are actually running it. And one of those people is going to be a general manager or just a location manager. who's going to be doing some coaching and some sales. And so to find and train up that person, have them be effective, and actually, also help make sure that the other coaches on site are doing a good job is challenging. So what this business ends up becoming is a hiring, a recruiting, and basically training those staff problem. Then, as long as you've got the money to put more facilities up, and you're solid, because that really is the biggest problem that I hear people dealing with, and I have also dealt with at my single location. Now that we kind of understand the gym overall model, let's take a look at the geographic location. So what's nice is if you are doing the coaching yourself, you have a pretty high capacity, at least initially, to coach clients. And the other nice part about this is your capacity from a coaching standpoint is much higher. We hear coaches are able to do anywhere from 50 to 70 clients. I've heard of coaches doing much more, but that's pretty typical of somebody who is actually doing full-time work and still being able to deliver a great service. Now, because it's online, which allows some flexibility, and remote, that's a very enticing thing for people. You still have to find quality people, but I'd say it is easier to hire these coaches. So the online high-ticket business is really not a hiring business and a recruiting business. What it is a marketing business, because a high percentage, most likely, of your time will be going to, how do I get people out of this entire sea of coaches to trust me? And of course, that can be done through organic content, that can be done through paid, and in most cases, it's a combination of the both. So the most reliable and consistent way to do this would be through paid traffic. And so if that's the case, then your problem is actually acquisition, which comes down to two things. Basically, booking calls and then closing them, and then maintaining that over increased scale. So, if I spend $1,000 on ads, let's say I get one sign up. Well, if I spend $100,000 on ads, will I get 100 signups? Normally, it does not work in a straight line like that. The cost goes up. Sometimes you get into different pools of people who see your ads who are less qualified. And so really, in this high ticket realm, it becomes, acquisition and marketing heavy. This fulfillment part is, challenging, but a much more solvable problem than actually getting people through the door. And we're paying anywhere from $300 to $500 per acquisition currently. The issue for us is we're in such a small area, we can only get so many of those before the costs just go way up. Similar here. Whereas the top companies who are really scaling, when I say scale for online high ticket coaching, they're doing $3 to $5 mil a month. They're spending $2,500 up to $2,500. Even to $3,500 at times, which requires them to, of course, if they're spending that to acquire a customer, if they need to be pretty good, they're going to have a 10K LTV, 10K over lifetime. So this leads to the question, why would I not start another gym? I would not start another gym because I am essentially in both of these scenarios right now. And for me, I would have to put another 80 to 100K, then get up to 60 to 70 members, go hire some people, and probably drive to that location physically, which would probably be 30 minutes away every single day, or not every single day, but frequently enough to get this up and running, just to, get some 10K profit over here. Whereas on the online end of things, if I want to grow more, then I just need to improve my skill more on the acquisition and on the sales end of things, which may be changing my offer, like my video from the other day. It may be being a better leader. to, working with our sales team. So this is the thought process for me because of the current place we're at. To make an extra 10K profit for us is, the difference in a few clients a month. And so you ask yourself, where are you at currently? Are you starting from online with not too much of a following or a foundation? Are you starting from scratch and want to start a gym? Do you want to work in that gym, or are you trying to just hire it out? It's really up to you. Now, starting a gym and getting clients is probably a little bit easier actually than getting some online clients, just because there's something about being able to build trust with people initially in person. And if you're doing the work, right, then you're going to basically make the income from it. So if you were starting from scratch, here's what I'd recommend. I'd recommend starting working with people in person. And then once you're making some money working with several clients in person, I would suggest learning Facebook ads or meta ads, spending and reinvesting some of that money you made from in person into that. Start learning the skill of building ads. Then use your gym or your facility or wherever you're at to create content and put it online, and just share that you do remote coaching. And then, have an application process so people can sign up, and you will get some online clients over time to supplement your gym here, or your even just personal training. You might not have a gym. Then at that point, once you have saved up some money, then you could do a test to run some meta ads for online. And I'd probably do something like a follower funnel or a DM funnel to start. And because I don't have a video on that, I would send you over to Matt Shiver. Check Matt Shiver out. He's got a bunch of great stuff on the different funnels you can run as an online coach. So there you have it. That's just how I would think about this if I was starting from scratch, why I wouldn't open a gym now, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.